huge event. The biggest event of the week was Cisco Live, and just a tremendous amount of news that went into it, whether it was security, whether it was observability and tools. We had a bunch of cloud things that the company covered. New type of networking. My gosh, where do we start here? So let me just hit some high points. Um, Cisco obviously has WebEx, and WebEx is industrial grade collaboration tools, and they keep adding a ton of new features. And one of the more interesting, and I think we've all fully realized this, if we're people managers or even if we run a company, how do you stay connected with your employees? And that's what people insights is all about. And as you would guess, right, one person's cool and how you stay in touch with somebody as another person's creepy, right? Essentially, you have a lot of good data on how people are interacting. And the cool part about it is this wasn't Cisco did in defensive mode. I had a conversation, gosh, 4 years ago with Francine Kasuda, Chief People Officer at Cisco, and Cisco is actually using this their homegrown tool that they learned a ton about to do that. So, checking if we've seen these types of tools from Microsoft. I don't see how we live in it or work in a hybrid world without these tools, but there will be a conversation about data collection, right? Because for people analytics, you need people data. Who's talking with whom, who's working, when they're working, all that good stuff. But it can also be used for good, which is, how to check in. And if somebody's working too much, you might want to remind them it's okay to take the weekend off or the holiday off. But that was a big one for me. The other one I'll hit is observability. So this whole element of having applications everywhere, right? Whether it's multi-cloud or hybrid cloud, you have your applications everywhere. And the ability to observe what's going on at every step of the way, whether it's serverless, whether it's Kubernetes, and even, God forbid, in a VM, how do you measure if there's high quality of service for the application that might have third parties involved, it might have first parties involved, and that's through tools. And then there's the security element of it, which comes in, which is the more links that you have, the more opportunities for security breaches. So this is where Thousand Eyes plus the observability tools come into place. Those tools have been pulled together. And I think that Cisco did a really good job showing how you holistically use them in a hybrid cloud. So net for me, Daniel, it was moving down. It was Cisco executing on their strategy. There were no huge strategic surprises here. It was making what they have committed to even better.
Yeah, it was a solid event. These digital and virtual events, Pat, continue to take precedence and continue to sort of suck us into weeks of information and collection. And by the way, I do enjoy it, except sometimes I have 3 and 4 monitors going concurrently where I'm trying to keep up with what's going on. But I enjoyed Chuck's keynote a lot. I thought Chuck did a good job of kind of tying 2 themes together. One is the future of the company and the direction it's going to take. And second is how the company is playing a part and playing its role in areas like inclusiveness and diversity, social good, that everybody's looking to hear from companies, not saying what they're looking to hear, but everyone wants to hear where companies stand. And so Chuck did a nice job there talking about that in his keynote. The company talked about Cisco Plus, which is going to be its as a service, vehicle for go-to-market. We've heard about GreenLake a lot from HPE. We've heard about Dell Apex. We've heard about TrueScale from Lenovo, but we've all been kind of waiting. What is the Cisco strategy? And Cisco really opened up finally to what it's going to do and how it's going to be inclusive of the broader cloud ecosystem. So that caught my attention. Security was another thing that I was paying attention to that came out. Cisco, despite the fact that the past year has been harder on OEMs and companies that are heavy on hardware, Cisco has actually stayed it's really strong in security. That's been its growth area. And so we've seen continued, you mentioned observability, but we all know that there's more and more desire to be able to really monitor the entire ecosystem, both internally and externally, reduce threat surfaces, and improve the way employees are able to interact with applications. By the way, you mentioned about observability, 300 or so applications, SaaS applications in the average enterprise right now, Pat. So I wrote up a piece about duo passwordless, which I thought was really interesting. We're using more biometric and keys as opposed to using typical passwords, because no one likes passwords. And that Duo acquisition, by the way, a Michigan-based company, and us Iron Belt Midwesterners will appreciate that, is starting to kind of realize its potential. And the company's coming out with a way for more secure access to applications for employees to try to kind of reduce the threat surfaces that we create through our everyday bad behavior of sticky notes and weak passwords. But overall, a strong Cisco Live, a lot of announcements. We barely brushed the surface. I hope both of us can get our thoughts on paper over the next week or two. But overall, congratulations to the team on putting on the event, and I hope we'll see them live next year. I'm really hoping that get a few more live events in 2022.
Yeah, I hear you. And the Cisco Live, when it is actually live in the venue in Vegas, is really awesome. I mean, they put on a really good show. Yeah, and the only thing I'll add on top is, don't think that the network as a service, thinking that that's late. Okay. Cisco does more as a service business now when you add what they do on the SaaS side than any of their contemporaries. So they know services, they know software. And by the way, I love that App Dynamics and Thousand Eyes acquisition.